Stop using the 70% rule on your wholesale offers. Guys, it's Rick Ginn, and today I'm going to break down the essence of wholesaling. I'm also going to show you how the 70% rule fails almost every time. I'm going to teach you a technique called reverse wholesaling, where you can make any deal work under the right conditions. And if you stay to the end, I'll show you how you can get an unlimited return on any motivated seller lead. But guys, before I get into it, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button so other people can find the truth out about wholesaling. So if you heard about the 70% rule, I know I've done multiple videos with myself and Zach on it. And to be honest with you, I don't even know where the dang thing came from. I just think it's one of these like old wise tales. And if wholesaling was that easy, go, hey, just offer 70%, don't pay more than 70%, and that's it. You wouldn't need to watch videos like this. You wouldn't need all these other tools and everything like this. Honestly, if it was that simple, that would be our course and it would be over. But the reality is times have changed. Honestly, the 70% rule, it wasn't even that great when I started in 2003. And the reality is if you stick to this rule, you're going to miss out on so many deals, so many opportunities. So let's put this rule to bed and let me show you what the real issues with it. Number one, the 70% rule doesn't take an account of anything, especially on how to build relationships with motivated sellers. It's just a mathematical equation. And honestly, math is like doing comps on real estate. We have to focus on the individual. So if you just take the 70% alone and you never ever had to really talk and get a relationship, build rapport with people, it's the reason why it doesn't work in wholesaling today in 2025. I think it's just an old wise tale, like fail safe, 70% and that's it. Keep in mind, wholesaling's been around for hundreds of years. Let me repeat that, hundreds of years. And we all had to start somewhere and evolve. Now, where it's gone in 2025 is absolutely amazing with AI and everything. So this rule probably worked at some point, but it doesn't work in 2025. You see, all markets adapt. People get better, technology gets better, and the best wholesale deals are always focused on motivated sellers that need to sell. And the only way to truly get that in the long run, if you really want to wholesale, is you're going to have to forge relationships with motivated sellers. Keep in mind, I don't have a 70% rule. I don't have a 75% rule. We need to put this thing to bed and get rid of it right now. Think about it. The 70% says if you get 30% margins on all your spreads and wholesale deals, you'll hit it out of the park. I agree with that statement. But guys, let's just put it to bed. I know it doesn't work. You know it doesn't work. But what we have to do is find out what's the best way to calculate an offer for a motivated seller when it comes to wholesaling deals. Now, step number two, I said I'm going to define wholesaling because a lot of people try to do other techniques and we wrap it all up in wholesaling. We need to understand truly what wholesaling is because I can talk with 10 SOBI wholesalers and I always get all these techniques they're not doing. I'm just like, you're taking a massive amount of risk and you don't even know what the reward is. Do you truly know what wholesaling is? And they just kind of look at me and scratch their heads. So let me go over it with you as an old school wholesaler. Wholesaling is these two statements. And honestly, if you asked me on an elevator, hey, Rick, what is wholesaling? It's simply the art of buying properties at deep discounts and selling them at medium prices. I didn't say high prices. I didn't say retail prices. We have to sell it to a middleman, usually a fix and flipper, usually to a landlord for them to fight for that last bit of profit in it. Because that's where all the pain comes in. That's where all the realtors, the lawyers, and the complicated contracts. So we have to understand that first statement. Buy a deep discount, sell it at a medium. I find most wholesalers try to buy it at medium and then sell it for retail. That's not wholesaling, that's speculating. That's where all these other crazy techniques that come in and you guys are marketed up the wazoo on it. The second statement of wholesaling, because the first one's not enough. So once we buy low and we sell medium, we minimize risk, we maximize reward when it comes to wholesale deals. Let me repeat that. We minimize our risk and maximize our reward. This is a key statement because most people get into wholesaling, they don't have any money, they're broke, they're looking for an opportunity, they don't want an average life, and perfect. because I don't need a couple $100,000 to get it started. That's why most people get attracted to wholesaling. The reality is a lot of people don't want to put in the work that goes into it. And honestly, the message for wholesaling has never been more convoluted than I've ever seen it. So let me repeat these statements and put them back to back. And if this rings your bell for wholesaling, let's move forward the video. Buy properties at deep discounts and sell for medium prices while minimizing risk and maximizing reward. That's wholesaling. Anything outside those parameters is not wholesaling. It's called speculation. It's called fix and flip, whatever you want to call it. The best marketers I've ever seen in real estate have always started with the fundamentals of wholesaling. And that's what I emphasize the most. So if you want to learn how to do it, go over to freewholesaling.com. So now that we've clearly defined what wholesaling is, I'm just going to show you a little bit of a math equation. I'm just going to share my whiteboard here and show you why the 70% rule always fails 99% of the time in wholesaling. See, when I started out wholesaling, a lot of properties were a lot cheaper than they are today. So let me give you a little example. So let me show you the mechanics of why the 70% rule fails. Remember, when I started out in wholesaling, prices were a lot cheaper than they are. But guys, it's been 23 years. But let me give you a prime example of maybe I can find the origins of how the 70% come, and I'll prove to you why it doesn't work today. So say a seller wants $50,000 for their house. I say want because we get a negotiation. Now, I'm going to take my 70% rule and I'm going to basically multiply it by 70. And that is going to give me a offer price of $35,000. And if they take that deal, my margin roughly, if I was to wholesale the house, potentially is going to be around $15,000. Awesome 70% rule. I won my heart with it. I have plenty of properties that fit this criteria, but I would never set my acquisitions managers and go, listen, it's 70% of the highway, because it's going to be really hard. So let's fast forward to 2025 and apply this rule. So say we have a seller that wants $500,000 for a house, and we take our same 70% rule. That means our highest offer is going to be $350,000. That leaves you a potential of $150,000. I don't have a problem with $150,000, but you are going to get run over by every other wholesaler, whatever, fix and flipper, cash buyers, whatever, because they're going to go, I'll give you $390. I'll give you $400. And it's going to get bid up because this $150 does not take into account the higher sales price of houses today in 2025. For this reason alone, like guys, if I had to sit here and wait for the 70% rule, I would definitely go out of business. And I'm saying as a wholesaler 23 years. So please, can we put this rule to bed? It's tired. It's broken. We have evolved so much more as wholesalers. Here's the rule. If you can buy a property 70 cents on the dollars, less the repairs, call me, because I'll buy it all day long because I know the numbers work. Now, there's a lot of other variables that go in with that. And I know it's a blanket statement, but the truth of the matter is if you were governed by this rule, you would never, ever do a wholesale deal in 2025. There are exceptions. Trust me, I've got them cheaper. But for the most part, it would be an occasional, it would be a freak type of property. And that's not going to keep you in business in wholesaling. So now I want to show you a strategy where you can just scrap the 70% rule, because remember, our goal is to what? Minimize risk. This is rule number one in wholesaling, because we have to take into account for risk. Remember, a traditional buyer on a property, if they get a mortgage or they even pay cash, is they do small inspection periods. They pay at or above full price, which is just beyond risk, and they leave huge deposits. We're not going to do any of those three I just stated there. And we're going to try to leave a smaller deposit. We're going to try to buy it for the least amount of property and have the longest contingency period. That's called minimizing risk. And if I can hit on all three of those, I can make almost any offer work. Let me show you how. So our first criteria, forget the 70% rule, forget about the percentages. I'm going to talk after that. Can you minimize risk? What to minimize risk? What's your purchase price? What's your deposit? When's your closing inspection period? Contingency period, same thing. This is what you guys need to be focusing on when you're doing your deals. And then once again, keep in mind, what am I looking for when I do a wholesale deal? Remember, I need to buy it as low as possible and sell it for a median price. I got to leave money in it for the next person because they're going to exchange speed. So I can keep doing this over and over. That's called wholesaling. So I want a property that's off market, that's direct to seller, meaning there's no middleman, there's no realtor, and someone who needs to sell. Rick, what do you mean needs to sell? Doesn't everybody need to sell? No, everybody wants to sell. You need to find the select few that need to sell. Now, if I can put all these together right here, I can usually put a great wholesale deal together. But wait a minute, it doesn't meet the 70% rule. I get it. And occasionally we have deals that the seller is stuck on a number. Let me give you an example. Say the seller needs $200,000. You've got great rapport with them, we've done everything, but they go, Rick, I can't go below this. I owe other people money. I have mortgage. I got outstanding debt. I got property taxes on it. So that's the seller's bottom line. So if that's the seller's bottom line, and let's just say the ARV, I'll put it in a different color here, is $230,000. If I use that 70% rule, I have to offer them $161,000, and I'm probably going to get kicked out of there right away. So we know that's not going to work. Let's just draw a line through it. I'm not even going to waste my time. You figured it out by this part in the video. So how can I make this deal work? Now, what is my number one priority when putting a deal like this together, especially if I don't have a lot of experience or maybe I've never done a deal before? You got it. I want you to go back up top here is how are you going to minimize your risk? Well, I can't do it on purchase price alone. We've already figured that out. The deposit, I got him to take a $250 deposit. We got that. That's somewhat minimized. And I have an inspection period of 30 days and a close maybe in 45 days. So you got 2 out of the 3. You've got something to work with now. You just got to add one more step. You ready for this? It's called reverse wholesaling. And if you do this right and you have an active cash buyers list and you're in tune and you get intel from your cash buyers is if you can find a cash buyer that likes to buy in that area, maybe the property doesn't meet your criteria. You're not getting it at a deep enough discount. You're definitely not getting the 70%. And you're thinking, listen, I don't want, say you don't even want to do anything more than like 185 and you made the offer and it got turned down. I don't write the contract. Why? Because I don't want to take a risk. I don't want to waste the seller's time if I cannot successfully get the property done. So I'm going to use the technique reverse wholesaling. I'm going to go on my cash buyers list, or if I don't have one, I'm going to go out there and market like crazy. And I'm going to find someone who wants a property in that area that's frustrated on MLS. Now, the key is you got to find someone, ready for this, that's eager to buy now, cash buyer. And when I find that person, I'm just say, hey, John, I got this 322. It's in this nice neighborhood. It's pretty much ready to go. It needs painted inside and outside. I'd buy it myself. I just can't make the numbers work. What do you think you could pay for a property like that? And I'm just going to shoot over the bow. He's like, listen, if it's under like $210,000 and it's ready to go, and you're just telling me it's paint, I could probably do that, Rick. Interesting. So reverse wholesaling means I'm going to go back to this original seller and go, Mr. Seller, I know you couldn't do the 185 and I'm going to start working on him. And I'm probably going to try to buy him. He's already at 200. I'll try to negotiate it. But worst case scenario, say you take it at the 200,000 and your new buyer wants to pay $210,000. Bingo. You just made 10K. Now it doesn't always work out that way, but like, here's the key. You did not risk much at all. If anything, you almost had zero risk. Nothing has zero risk. There's always risk when you write a contract. But the reality is you know exactly what the seller wanted. You went back, tried to negotiate again. They would not budge at all. And you go, okay, the seller, if I can do that 200,000, will you execute a contract right now? Hey, great. Now, once I put it under contract, maybe you already have a purchase and sales agreement with your new cash buyer, or maybe they've already signed an assignment of contract, so you know you have zero risk. And guys, this alone right here, if I did the calculations, that means I bought it at 91% of the ARV. Now, common sense will tell you that's definitely not 70% rule. And I'm here to tell you, I don't want to put stuff under contract that's not going to make financial sense, and I don't have a buyer in that market for it. But why not use reverse wholesaling and go back and circle the wagons, find a buyer, and see if you can get them to pay a little bit more, and maybe you can get a slight discount with your seller, or you could just meet the seller's expectation and get it done. But the main thing, guys, is the risk. And I want you to get the point in this video is if you can minimize your risk in wholesaling, you can make any deal work. Because here's the reality, guys, is if we have a 70% rule and say this is 100% of the value, who's to say 70% is the rule? Guys, for the most part, I deals at 75. I just showed you a deal at 91%. Who cares? The most important thing to understand is if you minimize your risk, why are you guys so hung up on the 70% rule? I get it. It's like an old wives' tale. Let's kill it right now. Because the average, I'm going to tell you, the average deals are basically about 76 to 85% in wholesaling. Why do I know this number? Because we liquidate properties every day, only wholesale deals. And this is where a majority of them wind up right in here. 70%, dude, take it. But you're going to miss out so many opportunities. I just want you guys to keep this in mind. And most important is once we know that our goal as a wholesaler is to minimize risk, and keep in mind, I want to minimize the seller's risk. That's why in this example I gave you, I did not enter into an initial contract because I wasn't confident I could get it sold. So I reversed the strategy. I just worked with my cash buyers, or if you don't have them, you're going to have to go out there and hustle and get it. Guys, I put tons of deals together. And let me ask you this. So we minimize our risk. You max your reward. Wait a minute. What if you did a deal and you did that exact same strategy and say you made $3,000? Let me ask you this. This is my favorite part of wholesaling. If I took no risk and I put up next to no capital other than the knowledge maybe I'm getting from this video, what is my rate of return? And I can tell you right now, it is a beautiful thing called infinite. And I'm telling you, which would you rather have, your 70% rule or the ability to make money out of thin air and get infinite returns? And guys, for simplistic sake, infinite just means you made a return with basically no money other than your skill of wholesaling. This is why I constantly preach the fundamentals of wholesaling. I look for sellers that are off market, direct to seller that needs to sell. Is it hard work? Absolutely. I don't hide it from you at all. But if you'll put in that hard work, it's so much easier to move these contracts. And when you get a deal where you just can't quite get the numbers, use the reverse wholesaling system, because if you can get your seller to come down just a little bit and maybe one of your cash buyers to come up a little bit, say you make $3,000. I know it's not a lot of money, but some of you, it's going to be life-changing. And here's the coolest part. You made it with zero money. Think about what people have to invest just to make $3,000. And if you can do this infinite return, the sky's the limit in wholesaling for you. Guys, if you want to learn how to do all these things in detail, go over to freewholesaling.com. Join us on our lives. I love this business. I'm very passionate about it. It changed my life. It's changed my son's life. It's changed the trajectory of my family's life. And I want to share it with everybody I humanly possibly can. Go over to freewholesaling.com. Guys, let me know in the comments. Are you killing the 70% rule? Let me know in the comments. And as usual, if you got value from this video, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video with someone that truly needs to understand what wholesaling is. This is Rick Ginn. I'll see you in the next video.